Joe was a humble lumberjack living in the Rocky Mountains with his wife Martha and 2 young children. They were poor but honest and never complained about their hard life. One day Joe went deep into the forest to cut timber, as he always did. Dark clouds rolled in faster than he expected, and a heavy storm broke loose. His freshly cut wood got completely soaked in the pouring rain. He took the wet wood to the town of Silver Creek, hoping someone would buy it. The shopkeepers laughed at him and said wet wood was useless and would never burn. Joe sat on his wagon feeling defeated and hopeless. Then an old prospector named Elias appeared out of nowhere. He examined the wet wood and told Joe that wet wood was exactly what he needed for his special medicines. He bought all the wood and paid Joe double the normal price. Joe returned home happy and thanked God for the unexpected blessing. The next day, Joe went back to the forest to cut more wood. Suddenly, bandits attacked the area, and Joe heard a weak voice calling for help. He found the old prospector Elias hiding behind a fallen log, terrified and alone. Joe left his freshly cut timber behind without thinking twice. He guided Elias through hidden forest trails and kept him safe from the bandits. Elias was deeply moved by Joe's selflessness and courage. To show his gratitude, Elias gave Joe a small leather pouch filled with mysterious seeds. He told Joe to plant them behind his cabin and promised they would change his life. Joe planted the seeds not knowing what to expect. Within days, the seeds sprouted, and within weeks they grew into strange golden fruits. When Joe cracked one open, a sparkling diamond fell out. He showed the diamonds to a jeweler, who said they were the finest gems he had ever seen. Word spread quickly and Joe became famous and wealthy overnight. Then a terrible wildfire swept through Silver Creek, destroying homes and businesses. Joe watched his neighbors lose everything they owned. Without any hesitation, Joe sold every single diamond he had. He rode into town and gave all the money to the families who had lost their homes. He told them to rebuild, because they were all in this together. The next morning, Joe went to water his magical bushes, but they were dead and withered. Martha asked him if he was sad about losing the wealth. Joe smiled and said the wealth had served its purpose by helping others. He returned to his simple life without any regret. Months passed, and Joe continued his work as a lumberjack. One day, he heard shouting near an abandoned well in the forest. He found a young man clinging to the walls of the deep well, nearly drowning. Joe pulled the young man out with his rope in a dangerous rescue. The young man was pale and weak, but grateful to be alive. He told Joe that he was Prince Alexander, son of the governor of the Western Territories. The prince insisted on taking Joe to meet his father, the governor. Joe stood before the governor with humility and respect. The governor offered Joe gold land or a high position in his court. Joe refused all personal rewards and made a simple request instead. He asked the governor to dig clean wells for his town and build a school for the children. The governor was deeply moved by Joe's selflessness and ordered 3 wells and a school to be built. One morning, Joe heard a knock on his cabin door. He opened it and found the old prospector Elias standing there glowing with a mystical light. Elias revealed that he was a guardian who had been testing the hearts of men for centuries. He told Joe that most men failed, but Joe had passed every test with a pure heart. He declared that from that day forward the land would be called Joe's Valley. He said Joe's name would live forever, because of his goodness, not because of gold. Joe lived out his days in peace and never became rich again. But he had the love of his family, the respect of his people, and the favor of God. Whenever the people of Joe's Valley face hard times, they remember his words. Do good, stay humble, trust in God, and He will make a way. Because out in the wild Rockies, legends are not made by gold. They are made by the heart.